So let's start our journey for today. So what is demand? What is demand? Okay. And when you are defining demand, there are many questions or there are many words come to your mind. This word may be want, or this word may be desire. One of the word may be willingness. Willingness to consume something. Okay. Or maybe you are so these are words, similar words for demand, but they are not actually the demand. The demand can be, this can be called as demand when they enter into the market. So your want, if it is in the market, then it is a demand. If your desire is in the market, desire to have, desire to have a good or services. Or want to have a good or services, service. Okay. Or willingness to have a good or services. So these are the criteria you in your mind when you are talking about the demand, but they are not actually demand if they are not inside the market. So they must be inside the market. So when they are inside the market, they are called demand. Okay. And when they are called demand inside the market, they need some items called called buyer. That means you as a buyer, there should be in the market there should have some seller, or there should have some producer, and all of buyer and seller should go with some price. Okay, so when there is a set price and buyer and sellers are there, then the demand is there. So for demand, we can say that quantity demanded by buyer and quantity sold, QD, quantity sold by a seller. Okay, and there is a price for that. Okay, so if these three items are there, we can call want, desire, willingness to consume, etc. as demand. So demand is something like having quantity, demand, and price. If we call it as in a simple way. Okay. So here I think you have some idea about the various variables. So in the idea of various variables, you have two types of variables. One is called dependent variable, another is called independent variable. Okay, so independent variable and dependent variable. So if we classify this into dependent variable and independent variable, QD and P, price is for P. Okay, then we can say that dependent variable is QD and independent variable is price. So suppose we have good X. So Px is equal to price of good X. And QD is equal to the demand for good X. Okay, all right. So we can set a function for demand. It's called QD is a function of Px, and you can call it as ceteris paribus. I will explain what do you mean by ceteris paribus. Okay, so the main idea is, I can write it here. Main idea is we say that QD is a function of price, and we close the bracket, first bracket, but in reality QD is not a function of one variable. Okay, so there are multiple variable that causes the QD. Okay, so it is not that only price is the cause to impact on quantity demanded. Okay, so I can make a list for the other determinants or other variables. So list of variables. Okay, so number one is Px, that means price of good X. Number two is PR, that means price of related good. Okay, and number three is price of related good means I can give you some example of tea and sugar. So tea and sugar and tea and coffee. Third one is maybe income of consumer. Fourth one could be taste and preferences. Fifth one can be seasonal effect. Okay, and sixth one can be others, because we want to make our life easy, so we put all others in one point called others. Okay, so we have a list of variables that determine the quantity demanded. Okay. All right. So we can write in this way. So QD is a function of not only price of X, but also price of related goods, also income of the consumer, taste and preference of the consumer, seasonal effect, and population, maybe six number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 could be population, and etc. others. So bracket closed. Okay. So when we consider two-dimensional board, we cannot take more than two variables at a time. So if we want to make a graph for demand, then we can say that we can take the function only price of goods. Okay. So, and keeping the all others constant. So we use the term called ceteris paribus, meaning keeping all other variables constant, keeping all other variable constant. Okay. So by this way, we can define demand. Okay. So demand is, this is functional form of demand function, demand function. Demand function. I said that demand is a function of price of X. So X is a good. So X is a good. Good X. And PX is price of good X. Okay. And QD is demand for good X. Okay. So Suhail, can you tell me what is the relationship between PX and QD? If I say that PX increase, what do you say about QD? Is it increasing or decreasing?
Increasing, sir.
So PX increase, demand for good, the price of good X increase, demand for good increase?
Yes, sir.
Why? So
Even
you go to the
sir,
market and demand for a good, suppose good maybe a kg of rice. So if price of good X increase, then do you buy more rice? No. I need to make it clarified. Demand is always with consumer. We are not talking about supply now, but supply is always with seller or producer. Okay. Now you are a demander. That means you are a consumer. Okay. So suppose you are a consumer. You are not producing now. You are a consumer. You go to the market and buy good X. So now tell me, if price of good X increase, what will happen to price quantity of good X? Do you buy more if price rises?
তখন স্যার ডিক্রিজ হবে প্রাইস বেশি।
So when price increase, quantity demand decrease, right?
জি স্যার।
Okay, so when price of X decrease, quantity demand increase. Okay, so there is a negative relationship. That is what I wanted from you. That is what answer I wanted from you. So there is a negative relationship between price and quantity. Okay, so negative relation. Negative relation. Relationship. Okay. All right. So this negative relationship is called law of demand. And when you write down ceteris paribus with this symbols, then it is called law of demand. Okay, so what is the law of demand? So when price of a good increase, the quantity demand decrease. When price of good decrease, quantity demand increase. Price increase, demand decrease. Price decrease, demand increase. That is called law of demand. Okay. All right. So when I say okay, then you have to answer yes sir, okay, or just respond my query. Okay.
Okay sir।
Okay. All right. All right. So suppose, here this is functional form, function, function, demand function. So we can write the demand equation like this. Demand equation. QD is equal to A minus BP or BPX. So what is A? A is, so compare your intermediate knowledge about a straight line. Compare Y equals mx plus C. What is C?
ধ্রুবক, constant.
Intercept. Okay. What is M?
Slope, ঢাল.
Slope. X is independent variable.
Slope.
And Y is
Dependent variable.
dependent variable. And we can write, we can draw this as something like that. Okay, so this is our Y equals mx plus C, and this is our slope. Okay, so this is Y, this is X, and this is called, change in Y. This much is called dy, and this much is called dx.
Yes.
Okay, and m is here, so m is equal to dy
Divided by
dx,
dx.
first derivative. Okay, and
Yes, sir.
what is C? C is here. C is this one. Okay, so this is C. Okay, so this is our math knowledge. Math knowledge. So we can convert it into our economics knowledge. In economics, particularly for demand and supply, dependent variable is, here the y is called dependent variable, right? And x
Yes.
is
Independent variable.
Independent variable. But in economics, dependent variable is, I mean, we set price here and QD there. So QD is a dependent variable. And price is independent variable. So what is the difference between the math and economics? Math versus economics. In math, we take this axis as dependent variable axis, but now in economics, it is independent variable axis. Okay. All right.
Yes, sir.
So when
Yes,
we
sir.
talk about the demand equation, we and there is a minus sign, so there is a negative relationship between price and quantity demanded. So we can say that demand function is downward sloping like this. So this is QD is A minus BP or PX. So this is, I mean, dependent variable. And this is independent variable. Okay. Now tell me, where is A? So we can say that this is actually B. B is what? Slope. That means dq dp. All right. So here is dp, and there is dq. All right. So now tell me, where is A? In economics, where do you find A? You can find A when you extend this, like, so here, that much. So that much is A. Why that much is A? Because you need to know that note. What is note? Intercept, that means intercept, that means A is always with dependent variable axis. Dependent variable axis. Okay, so when we're talking about the math, then y is dependent variable. So C is with dependent variable axis, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so when we're talking about the economics, our dependent variable axis is actually x-axis. So here A is our dependent variable axis. So
Yes,
this
sir.
much is A. And we know that dq dp is our slope. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, can you tell me, I mean, if I start here, look at this equation. If I start here, we can say that this is negative. If I put, I mean, negative sign over px, that means there is a negative relationship between qd and px. Now, can you tell me what is the sign over pr? Is it plus or minus?
Negative. Minus.
Why minus?
কারণ হচ্ছে
We know
হচ্ছে
that PR means price of related good. Price of related goods. So related good could be two types. One is called substitute. Another is called complement. Substitute means if you can substitute one by other. Suppose we gave some example of tea, sugar, and coffee. So suppose T is our X. So X equals T. And these are maybe Y and maybe Z. So tell me, what is the relationship between X and Y? Are they complementary or substitute? Tea and sugar, are they complementary or substitute? Complementary means you use both together.
Sir, substitute.
No, tea and sugar, substitute. So if you drink tea, then do you avoid sugar? You avoid sugar if you have diabetes, but normally you add sugar, so they are complement. So X and Y are complementary goods. Okay. What about X and Z?
It would say substitute.
Substitute, because if you want tea, just you don't want to have coffee. So X and Z are substitute. Okay. X and Z and X and Y. All right. So when PR is between X and Y, then we said that they're complementary. So when complementary, then PR is negative.
Yes, sir.
That means when price of sugar increase, consumption of tea decrease.
Yes.
But when the relationship is between X and Z, this is actually positive. So we have two symbols, positive and negative for PR. Why? Because when two goods are substitute, that means when price of coffee increase, consumption of tea increase. That's why QD, I'm going to write on here for substitute. Substitute. When QD, when price of price of coffee increase, demand for tea increase. When price of coffee decrease, the demand for tea decrease. So that's why the relationship between QD and as a function of PR is positive. So function, changing, F prime means DDX, so it is positive. Okay. But what about the complementary goods? Complementary.
Negative, sir.
Complementary is negative. Why? Because price of sugar now increase, demand for QD for tea decrease. Price of sugar decrease, demand for QD tea increase. So that's why when we talk about the function, QD is a function of PR.
Negative.
Then function dot means first derivative is negative. Okay, so for substitute, F prime function is positive, and for substitute and for complementary goods, F
negative.
dot is negative. So that's why above PR there is a plus minus sign, but PX only minus sign. Now apply your intuition. What about if income increase? What about the demand? Is it positively or negatively related? That means income increase, demand is increase or decrease?
সেই প্রশ্ন বুঝি নাই, আরেকবার প্রশ্নটা।
So we have done PX and PY. What about Y? Is it positively related to QD or negatively related to QD? Y is for income. So income of consumer increase, the demand for good X increase or decrease?
So ডিমান্ড পজিটিভলি হবে যদি
Why? Because when you have more income, you are going to consume more tea, right? Or more rice. So Y has plus sign. What about taste and preference? Is it positive or negative?
নেগেটিভ।
No, it is also positive, also negative also. Because if your taste increase, I mean, if you want to buy more, your taste improves. Then what happens? You consume more tea, right? Or maybe you consume less tea. So that's why it is plus and minus. So no, taste is decreasing or taste is increasing doesn't matter. It depends on your intuition. What about seasonality? Let me give you an example. The example is in the rainy season. In the rainy season, what about the demand for umbrella?
ইনক্রিজ।
So demand for umbrella increase. What about the supply of demand demand for ice cream in the winter season?
ইনক্রিজ ডিক্রিজ।
Decrease. Demand for ice cream in the summer season?
ইনক্রিজ।
Increase. So that's why we can put plus and minus sign over S. Depends on this season. Okay. So in one season, demand for an umbrella increase, but the other season, demand for umbrella may be decrease. What about population? Population increase, demand is increase or decrease?
ডিক্রিজ ইনক্রিজ প্লাস মাইনাস দুইটাই হবে স্যার।
No, not plus minus, plus, because population increase means demand also increase.
জি স্যার।
Okay. All right. So we have covered, definition of demand. So definition of demand means there is when you go to the market with some money, then you can buy some good, and the good follows a law, and it is following a function of Px. When we close the bracket here, we write ceteris paribus y, because we need to make the other variable constant. So first we write in this way: Qd is a function of Px Pu R y as taste and preference. So when we make all other variable constant, then we need to we are going with only two variables. Why two variables? Because our PQ is our space. This is called space or Cartesian. This is called space or Cartesian. PQ is two-dimensional. So that's why we only have we only need two variables at a time. Two variables at a time. Okay. And then we know this is functional form, and we know that there is a equational form if we consider it as a straight line equation, a minus b p x. And what is a? A is intercept, b is our slope. A equals intercept, b is our slope, and we can find that they are here p independent variable, q dependent variable, and our demand function is look like this. And maybe when we add this, and we can find the a here, okay, and b is our that means del p divided by del q, or del q divided by del p. Okay. And we know that the law of demand, what is the law of demand? Law of demand is when px increase, qd decrease. When px decrease, qd increase, and both should be with ceteris paribus. Why ceteris paribus? Because we only deal with two variables at a time. Ceteris paribus. Okay. So this is our law of demand. So when price increase, quantity demand decrease. When price decrease, quantity demand increase. Now, our next item is determinants of demand. So demand is QD. So QD, we said that QD is a function of PX, PR, Y, S, taste and preference, etc. These are called determinants. So all variables inside the parenthesis called determinants of demand. Okay, these variables determine the quantity demanded. Okay, so that's why they are called determinants of demand. Okay. Now, what is the next point? Next point is change in demand versus change in quantity demanded. Let's suppose QD is a function of Px. So we have two variables at a time. Okay, two ceteris paribus. Ceteris paribus. Two variables at a time. Okay. So when we know that the law of demand is when Px increase, QD decrease, vice versa. Okay. So we can show it. So we can show it in as a graph. P, Q. So if it is a demand curve, then our demand price. So suppose this is our initial price. Price increase to P1. So price increase, your Q0 to Q1 decrease. So you are moving actually from A to B. So this is called moving moving along the line, that means from A to B. In other way, we can call it, so for B, for moving along the line from B to A. When B to A is possible, when price decrease. So if price decrease, then Q1 increase. Okay, so this is called change in quantity demanded. So this is called change in this notion is called change in quantity demanded. Now, what is change in demand? Change in demand can be explained in this way. So suppose our QD is now function of Y, not Px, or not P. So if we say that ceteris paribus, that means, so PQ remains the same, but now our variables are two variables. What are the two variables? These two variables are not PQ. They are QD, but not P. So two variables are now QD and Y, not P. But P is there. So you are not going to change this PQ space. You just say that our original demand function is this. So P is now in ceteris paribus. So P is now in ceteris paribus. So P is constant. So when P is constant, then we can say that we said that P is now constant. So P is here constant, P bar. Okay, P bar is constant. So when there is an increase in Y, increase in Y means QD also increase. Decrease in Y means QD decrease. So when there is an increase in Y, what happens? So suppose this is our initial Q0, so it could be increase. So when we say that this is happening, increasing Y, so Q0 should increase. So suppose this is Q1. So if we say that it is increased, we cannot say that price decrease. Why? Because price is fixed. So you need to extend this and make a point here. And now the curve shift forward. So demand curve is, so we can say that demand is like this, DD. Demand curve is D0, now D1. So demand curve shift forward. Okay, shift forward. Why shift forward? Because price remains constant. Price is in the ceteris paribus. Now income increase, our space remains PQ, space still remains. That's why when income increase, price constant, then demand curve shift forward. When income decrease, demand curve shift backward. So we can draw another picture here. Demand curve shift backward. So because of this, and because P is constant and Q0 has to decrease when when y decrease, q0 has to decrease. Okay, so suppose this is our new q0, q1, so q1 has to decrease. So that's why we get a point here. When we find a point on this, so demand curve shift backward. This is called shift backward. Shift backward. So here this is called demand curve DD shift backward. Why backward? Because y decrease. Here DD shift forward. Okay, why forward? Because y increase means QD also increase. Y increase here, y decrease means QD decrease. Okay, so this notion is called this notion is called change in demand. Take an example of all we have studied. Example. Now our equation was QD is a function of Q PR PX, and we said that our equation, this is a function, our QD is A minus BP. Now suppose we have set A equals maybe what can I say, A equals and B equals A equals 8 and B equals suppose 2 or maybe 1. So our equation becomes now QD is 8 minus P, right? So from this we can find data set. Data set can be can have some column PX and second column QD. Tell me, when price is 0, what is QD?
8, sir.
8. When price is 1, what is QD?
7,
7. When price is 2, what is QD?
6,
6. When price is 3, what is QD?
5,
5. When price is 4, what is QD?
4,
4. When price is 5, what is QD?
3.
3. Now, do you see the law of demand? What is law of demand? QD, I mean, PX decrease, QD increase. Do you see this? Or PX increase means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. QD decrease. So this is law of demand, law of ceteris paribus, law of demand. Okay. Now, this is our data set, and this data set is called, so this is the table. So you can write 6, 7, 8, up to 8, okay? Why I say up to 8? Because when P is 9, then what happens?
It will be negative.
Negative. So quantity cannot be negative. That's why I said that up to 8. So this data set is called demand schedule. Or in American called demand schedule. Okay, all right. And can you convert this into graph? So this is our p-axis and this is our qd axis. Okay. So we have increased, suppose we have 8. This is 8 and here 4. Maybe there 2, 3. Okay. So maybe this is 3, this is 2, and this is 1. Okay. And 8, after 8, there is 7, 6, 5. 7, 6, 5. So when price is maybe 5, let me start from here. Price is 5. What is the demand? 3. So suppose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So when price is 5, demand is 3. 1, 2, 3. So this is a dot. When price is 4, maybe this, demand is 4, maybe this. When price is 3, demand is maybe 5, this is 5. When price is 2, so suppose this is 2, demand is this. Okay, so you can add the dot, is actually QD is 8 minus P. Okay. All right. So we have covered our whole analysis of definition of demand, law of demand, determinants of demand, and change in demand versus change in quantity demanded. All right. Similarly, so we can go for a supply also. First, we talk about the definition of supply, and then law of supply, and then determinants of supply, and then change in supply versus change in quantity supplied. So as we have done with demand, we can also do this for supply. Okay, so let's do it. So we're not going to repeat all things discussed in demand. We just summarize this for supply because they are similar. So if I say that now we have QS. So QS is a function of, again, PX. Now let us talk something about the supply. Supply implies supplied by goods and services supplied by seller or producer. Okay, so here what is the law? Law is when P, X means good X, good X. So when P increase, tell me, when P increase, what will happen to QS? Supplier will increase supply or decrease supply. Remember, supply is with seller. So when price of good X increase, what happens to quantity supplied by the seller? Do they increase supply or decrease supply? When price of good X increase, what happens to QD?
Decrease supply. Decrease supply hobe.
Why?
So price
So
to
you are a supplier. Suppose you are a supplier. So you see that price in the market increase. So your supplying decrease or increase. Remember, when we're talking about the demand, we are talking about the consumer side. That means when price increase in the market, consumer decrease their demand, okay? But when you're talking about the supply, we are talking about the supply seller or producer. That means those who are selling goods or those who are producing that good. So when price increase, supply also increase. So when price decrease, supply also decrease. So this is when we say that this is with ceteris paribus condition. So this is called law of supply. These are called law of supply. So what is the law of supply? Law of supply means the positive relationship between price and quantity supplied. Okay. Now we can say that QS is function of PX ceteris paribus. Now ceteris paribus means all other remains fixed or constant. Now, what are all others? What are the various factors that determine quantity supplied? One is PX. What are the others? Other determining factor. Let me help you. A second item is called price of inputs. Price of inputs means, so when suppose good X, so to produce good X, if X is output, then to produce good X, they need input, right? So they need, labor, they need capital, they need other things, raw materials, etc. These are called input. So price of input is a factor that determines if price of input increase, then demand, supply of good X is also, decrease. Okay, so price of input could be one determinant. What could be the other determinant? The other determinant could be technology. So if technology improves, then supplier can buy inputs, buy technology with less price. So he or she can increase the supply of good X. What could be the other factor? Other factor also could be season, because we know from the demand side, season is also factor. So when in the rainy season, supplier supply more umbrella in the market. In the winter season, supplier of ice cream will supply more in the market. So this is also determining factor. What other factors? So we say that price of good X is a factor, price of inputs is a factor, technology is a factor. 1, 2, 3, 4. I need one more, and then I will say ... close the bracket.
So government subsidies.
Thank you. This is called tax and subsidy. Tax and subsidy means when government increase a tax, then producer will increase or decrease the supply. When government apply subsidy, that means government gives some money, producer, there is a subsidy, producer supply more. When there is a tax, supply less, etc. Okay, so we can stop here. We have found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items, 5 determining factors. So these are called determinants of supply. So we can say that determinants of supply, determinants supply are price of good X, price of inputs, technology, seasonal effect, and taste and not taste and preference. It is called tax and subsidy, etc. Okay. Now, can you put plus minus above these all determinants? So here, is it plus or minus px? Definitely plus, because we know that this is plus. So we have put plus here. That means positive relationship between px and qs. What about this? pi. Pi increase means qs decrease, so negative. What about this? T. Positive. Why? Because if technology improves, then more supply. What about this? S. Plus minus, because it can increase or decrease depending on the season. Okay. What about this?
Negative, increase, sir.
Now, in decrease for T, increase for S. So minus plus, minus or plus, okay, etc. That means when T increase, supply decrease. When S increase, supply increase. That's why it is minus and plus. Okay. So now we have covered demand for supply definition. We have covered law of supply. We have covered determinants of supply. Now we can go for supply schedule. Supply schedule. Again, we can write, okay, before writing supply schedule, we can go for equation. These are called function and equation. So supply equation, what could be the supply equation? Supply equation could be QS equals C plus DP or PX. So you see that there is a positive sign before D. So C is equal to intercept. Okay. And D is slope. Okay. So we can draw supply curve like this. So supply curve is like this. So this is called QS equals C plus DP. Now, can you locate C here? Because in our demand analysis, we have seen that this is our A intercept. Can you find this C here? Where is C? I said that C is intercept, and intercept is related to your dependent variable axis. So QS is our dependent variable and PX is independent variable. So you have to find C by extending this into that. So here C, this portion is called C, and here C is negative. Now tell me, when C is positive, then what is the shape of the supply curve? Supply curve is definitely like this. Okay, so because here C is positive, so C is positive. Now tell me, this is C plus DP. Now anybody can tell me when C is 0, what is the shape of supply curve? So C will be passing through the origin. Okay, so this is C is positive, C is DP, and QS equals C is positive, C is equal to 0. So we have got three shape of supply curve. Okay, now let's quickly build our supply schedule. So suppose our supply this function is C equals 10 and D equals 2. So our QS is now 10 plus 2P. Okay. Now, as we have done previously, then price is starting from maybe 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now what is QS? Tell me. When P is 0, then what is QX? QS, of course 10. 10. P is 0, QS is 10, right?
Yes, sir.
When P is 1, 12. When P is 2,
14.
14. When P is 3, 16. When P is 4, 18. Okay, so when P is 5, 20. When P is 6,
22.
22. 7,
24.
24. So do you see in this schedule or data set, do you see the law of supply here? That means P increase means Q also
Yes.
increase. So 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. These are all increasing factors when P also increase. So can you convert this into graph? Very easy. P, Q,
Yes, sir.
QS. So suppose we are increasing from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So when price is 6, what about Q? 22, right?
Yes, sir.
So suppose price is 0. So Q is 10.
Yes.
Suppose this is 10. This is 10. So this is the point. When price is 1, then Q
12.
12. Maybe here. So let us move by two points. So suppose this is 10 actually. So this is first point. So this is 12, 10, 12, maybe 14. This point may be 16, this point may be 18, this point may be 20, something like that. Okay, so first point is 10. Then the second point is here. Third point is there. Fourth point is there. Fifth point is there. So we have got very, easy way to draw a supply curve. And this is our supply curve, okay? Increase in price means increase in quantity supplied. So this is called supply curve, SS. Okay. Now, as we did in the previous section, we can also define difference between change in quantity supplied versus change in supply. So again, same idea is applied. So when QS is a function of only PX and ceteris paribus, then we have got two variables at a time, and these are inside the PQ space. So this change, the change in price and change in quantity is there. So we can draw a line, and this line is called movement. Suppose this is our price. So price 0 and price increase P1. then we have got second point. So movement from A to B, our quantity 0 becomes now quantity 1, and this is the movement. So this is called change. Okay, so change in quantity supplied. Okay, and this is movement along the line. Now, what about if we say that our QS is now function of technology ceteris paribus? So px is now inside the ceteris paribus. So px is constant. So suppose we have this s. So our p is now constant. P is p bar, and this is our q0. And suppose technology improves. So when technology improves, QS also increase. When QS increase, QS increase here. So this is now Q1. So QS increase. Technology improves means QS increase. So QS is now here. So our P is fixed. So we cannot move beyond the P. So P cannot be increased. So we can find a point here. Okay. So then we have got a point, and then it is called shift forward. Because of technology improves, there is a change in quantity supply, change in supply. This shift change in supply. That means shift forward of supply curve. So when we shift forward of supply curve, then we can call it as change in supply. When we move along the line, we call it as change in quantity supplied. What about if we can say that there is a, suppose QS is now function of PI, that means price of inputs. So when PI increase, QS decrease. Okay, QS decrease because suppose labor's wage increase, then producer will supply less. So here, if it is our original supply curve, so this is supply 0 and this is supply 1. So if this is our supply 0, so price fixed, okay, so price fixed, but PI increase. So what happens? PI increase means, so if Q0, so Q decrease, Q1 decrease. So here we can get a point because price fixed, so we cannot move beyond this. So we have got another supply curve, and this is now shift back. So supply 1 shift back. So when PI sorry, PI increase, QS decrease, supply curve shift back. Okay. So this is also called change in, this is also called what? Change in supply. No, not this way. So this way. Okay. So this is the idea of supply, and we have applied the same idea on demand in the previous section. So what we have covered here, we have covered the definition of supply, law of supply, determinants of supply, and change in supply versus change in quantity supplied. Let us stop here for today. In the next class, we are going to cover equilibrium and elasticity of demand and supply. Okay, so this will be more interesting. Okay.